I've said it once and I'll say it again. When you become a better teacher, you'll start to make more money. And the sale of your products really does happen in the teachings on your sales mechanisms, your webinars, your challenges, your video series, your live workshops, whatever it may be. The selling happens there. But most people never focus on that. Most people focus on offer or the pitch or where they think the selling is, which again is offer and pitch. But if you can learn to start creating demand and powerful teachings that actually start to sell your products, it literally changes the game. And that's exactly what we're talking about on this episode. So if that's interesting to you, then keep on listening.
Hi, I'm Brandon Lucero, and you're about to experience the new way to thrive in business, entrepreneurship, and life by leaning into who you are, what you love, and standing up for what you want to create. Get ready, because this is where we go against the grain, say no to outdated society norms, and we say yes to change in order to create a happier, more fulfilled world. Welcome to the New Generation Entrepreneur Podcast.
Hey everyone, welcome to the final episode of this series titled Conversion Messaging. Now, this is going to be the final episode. It's going to be a little bit of a short one because we need you to get ready for the big main event, our 3-day live event called Master Your Conversion Messaging. So the link, we're going to pop an ad up here inside this episode in a minute. We'll also have links in the show notes that you guys can go and register for this. But what I wanted to talk about in this episode is teaching styles that sell. And we've already kind of hinted at this and talked about it a little bit throughout this series, but I wanted to address something. And the idea is how to teach in order to drive a sale, whether it be a webinar or even a podcast or, like a 3-day workshop or challenge or whatever it may be. And it's the idea of, instead of teaching information, tutorials, or steps or deep information, it's about more teaching the concept that you want your audience to understand. And the reason why this is so important is because when people can understand and see the concept of what you're talking about, what will happen is their mind will very easily be able to understand how that concept applies to them in their specific situation. So what happens if we get too deep in the information, sometimes the audience members don't really see or quite understand the information, number one, but number two, how that information actually is fitting within their specific business, within their specific situation. And that's a big problem because people need to understand how your stuff is going to help them. And again, everything's about helping them come to their own conclusions that this is what they need, right? So again, people are going to be taking your teachings and they're going to be taking all this stuff and thinking, how does this apply to me? Is this relevant to me? Is this going to work for me? So when we teach a concept and they get the concept, it allows them to fit that concept into their specific situation a lot easier. So some of the things that you want to take into consideration when doing this is you want to ask yourself, what are the steps that I need to teach? Now, let me be very clear. Sometimes when you guys are teaching steps, not all of them have to be concepts. Sometimes you need to and only can just deliver information. So this is something where it's like, if you can do a concept, then you should. But if you literally can't, then it's totally fine. But I have never found a case where someone gets on a webinar and they literally have no way to teach a concept and they have to teach the information. Usually what happens, if you sit there and you're like, every single one of my steps, Brandon, needs informations and steps and all that stuff, I'm just, my feedback is going to be, then you don't even understand the concept of what you're teaching. And that's really, really important. So if I had like a webinar and I was teaching people how to create engaging content, and step 1 was title, like how to create a really effective title, I would say, what's the concept that I want them to understand? Well, I know what makes my titles differently is it speaks to the subconscious mind. So I go, okay, so the concept is they need titles that get automatic clicks. And I go, okay, so automatic clicks. How will they understand this? Oh, they do that. Where are they clicking on things automatically? And then so what I do is I say, step 1 is titles, but the first thing I need you guys to realize is, how did you even get here on this webinar? Was it an email that I sent you because you're on my list? Was it a social media post or an ad? And I want to ask you guys a question. Did you think about clicking and logically go through the scenario? Like, well, what happens if I click? Is this going to be worth my time? Or was it an automatic reaction that you had to the copy or the link or the title of what this was? for most of you, is probably an automatic thing. So what we have to do is understand what are the automatic triggers that are going to cause your audience to click on this. That's what makes a really effective title. So what I just did there was I taught the concept of what I wanted them to grasp. Now, at that point, I can go into a little bit of the information and details. I don't really need to. I can just go into examples. What do you think of this title versus this title? Which one's going to get you to click automatically? This one and this one. This one and this one. So now I'm showing examples, right? I'm furthering my point. I'm furthering the understanding of the concept. And I'll say something like, there's certain words, certain triggers that you're going to have to use. I'll give you 3 of them right now. There's identity, there's this, and there's that. Now, inside our program, we have 16 more, but how many of you guys think you can just use those 3 right now? And then, yes, I can. And that'll be it, right? That's it. That's all I'm going to do for step number 1. But that's value adding. It's mind blowing. It also gets them excited because it's like, oh, I can do this. So you're getting that level of trust of third level of trust you need, which is I can do this. You need them to trust their own ability. I can do this. It makes sense. I trust the process, right? So when you teach the concept, it allows them to very easily grasp, understand, and want what it is you're doing. Now, this may take some practice. You can incorporate some steps and some information in this. But what I have found is that one of the best ways to understand this and see how to do it is to watch it live in action. And I'm going to break it down for you during our 3-day event that I mentioned is coming up quickly. In fact, depending on when you're watching this, maybe it have already been gotten started. So if you want to see me master everything that I taught you over the last 5 days, then you need to register for our 3-day event called Master Your Conversion Messaging. Again, one of the best and easiest ways to learn this is to see it live in action. And the thing that I know is true is that even when you know what I'm doing, when you say, oh, Brandon's teaching a concept right now, or he's using identity over here, it's still going to be effective. That's how powerful this is. Effective communication is so powerful because it just works with how the brain works. It is so powerful that people will even know that that's what you're doing, and it'll still be effective. It's like, let's say you go to a therapist, right? And the therapist is just validating you. Yep. And even though you're aware they're validating you, and you know that that's what they're doing, it still feels good, right? Because there are certain ways the human mind is set up and designed to process information. And so when you can learn to do that, and then you can take your skills, your knowledge, and your degrees, and you're able to communicate it in a way that the human mind is designed, what starts to happen is people start to understand automatically, this person can help me. They can solve my problem. I need to buy from them. I need to listen to them. I need to watch, and I need to engage. So if you guys want to watch that live in action, go sign up for our 3-day live event called Master Your Messaging. And if you want the PDF to this episode and all the others that we did, you can go to learn.brandonlucero.com/CM PDF. That's learn.brandonlucero.com/CM PDF. And again, we will have the link to the 3-day event there as well. So go to learn.brandonlucero.com/CM PDF. Now, I hope this series was very enlightening for you. It gave you some ahas and really set the stage of what we're going to be teaching you during these 3 days. I'm really excited for it, and hopefully I'll see you there.
Hey guys, thank you so much for checking out another episode of the New Generation Entrepreneur Podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, go below, hit the subscribe button, and make sure you click on that bell icon and get notified every time we drop a new episode. Now, if you're looking for the show notes, we have them linked underneath this video, as well as our social media handles and some links to free training and offers that we drop from time to time to help you guys even further. So go check those out if you're interested, and thank you so much for tuning in to the New Generation Entrepreneur Podcast.